Welcome back to the deep dive. It's awesome to have you with us again. You know you've given us some really thought-provoking stuff to dig into. So many great sources, articles, personal notes, research, all circling around these ideas of purpose and passion.
Yeah, and what we're going to do in this deep dive is, well, go beyond just skimming the surface.
Right.
We want to help you pull out the really crucial insights, the stuff that can actually help you integrate these ideas, purpose and passion into your life in a
Yeah.
way that's clear, actionable, something you can work with.
I love it. So this isn't just some theoretical discussion. This is about getting practical, actually using this information to build a life that feels, I don't know, more meaningful, more vibrant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Life that feels aligned.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. Purpose. Like when we say that word purpose, what are we really getting at? What's the essence of it?
Well, from what you've shared, purpose is like the fundamental driving force behind what we do. It's that deep why, the thing that really motivates us.
So not so much a specific outcome, but more like the underlying intention behind it.
Exactly. And the really fascinating thing is when your actions are aligned with your purpose, well, it adds this whole other layer of meaning to everything. It connects what you're doing to what you actually value, what really matters to you, what genuinely gets you fired up.
Right, because you're not just going through the motions, there's that deeper connection.
It's like you're tapping into a current that propels you forward instead of constantly battling against the tide.
Okay, that makes total sense. I feel like I'm already getting a clearer picture here. So then how do we even begin to figure out what that why is? It can feel kind of like searching for something you can't quite grasp.
Yeah, it can be tricky. A lot of the material you shared pointed to self-reflection as the key.
Mm.
It's about asking yourself some pretty deep questions, like what truly energizes me, even when things get tough? What causes or values do I deeply care about? And then, and maybe this is the biggest one, how can I contribute, make a real difference, whether it's in my own little world or on a larger scale?
And that difference, it doesn't have to be some massive world-changing thing, right? I mean, it could be something small, something personal.
Absolutely. Even the smallest acts can ripple outwards.
Yeah.
And that's where passion comes in, right? The fuel that drives it all.
Okay, let's talk about passion. The sources describe it as that internal fire. So tell me more about that. How does it work with purpose?
Well, think of it this way. Purpose is the map, and passion is what gets the engine running.
I like that analogy. So purpose points you in the right direction, but passion is what actually makes the trip enjoyable.
Exactly. It's what takes effort and turns it into excitement. It makes hard work feel, well, not so hard, because you're genuinely loving the process.
And without that passionate engagement, like you said, pursuing your purpose could feel like a real drag. So how do we find that spark, that thing that truly lights us up?
It goes back to self-awareness. Think about the activities where you totally lose track of time, the things that draw you in, even if they're challenging. That's where passion often lives, in those moments of deep engagement where effort feels almost effortless.
Right, like when you're so absorbed in something that hours just vanish. I totally get that.
And it's important to remember, genuine passion comes from within. It aligns with your core values and interests, not with what other people think you should be passionate about. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's about what feels authentic to you, not what you think you're supposed to be into.
Right. And it doesn't always have to be this grand, world-altering thing. Passion can be found in hobbies, in relationships, in certain aspects of your work. It could be anything, really.
So sometimes it takes a little exploration, a little experimentation to figure out what really gets those fires burning. Okay, so we've got the map from our purpose and the fuel from our passion. But how do we actually bring those two together in a way that, really works?
That's where this idea of alignment comes in. When your passions are focused on fulfilling your purpose, when those two things are working in harmony, that's where the magic happens. Your actions become intentional, and it all leads towards something that truly matters to you.
It's like finding that sweet spot where the things you love doing actually contribute to something you deeply believe in.
You got it. But it's worth noting that this alignment, it doesn't always happen overnight.
Yeah.
It can be an ongoing process, one that requires some patience and a willingness to adapt. as both your passions and your purpose evolve over time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're on this journey, figuring things out, and we're bound to hit some bumps in the road, right? Doubt, fear, those kinds of things. How do we deal with those?
Oh, those are totally normal parts of the process. Doubts, fears, they're going to pop up. Fear of failure, worrying about what other people think, feeling like you're not good enough, those are all super common. But it's important not to let them stop you.
Easier said than done, though, right? So how do we prevent those feelings from paralyzing us?
One thing that came up a lot in your sources was the power of perspective.
Yeah.
Actively reframing your thoughts. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, what if you shifted your attention to the opportunities for growth and learning? Every step you take, whether it leads to immediate success or not, is teaching you something. It's helping you grow.
It's like progress over perfection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where having a good support system can make a huge difference. Having people around you who believe in you, who can offer different perspectives, a little encouragement when you need it.
Yeah, having that positive support can be a game changer. Okay, so we're navigating those internal challenges. But what about the time and effort it takes to actually do this work? It's not exactly a quick fix, is it?
You're right, it's not. It takes time. It takes consistent effort. And this might be one of the hardest parts because we live in a world where everything's supposed to happen instantly. But finding and aligning your purpose and passion, that's a long game.
And that's where patience comes in. I think that's a muscle we could all stand to exercise a little more.
Absolutely. Patience in this context is about trusting the process, knowing that things unfold in their own time, and finding a sense of peace in that journey, even when things feel uncertain.
Trusting that eventually the pieces will fall into place.
And alongside patience comes persistence, showing up consistently, even when you face setbacks. Because those setbacks, those are just opportunities to learn and refine your approach.
Okay, small, consistent actions, I can get behind that. Now, we've talked a lot about looking outward at our interests, at the world around us, but it's just as important to look inward, right? To really get to know ourselves.
100%. Self-discovery, that's the foundation. It's like before you can figure out where you're going, you got to know who you are, what you value, what your strengths and weaknesses are, what truly resonates with you on a deep level. It's about tuning out the noise and listening to your own inner compass.
And what are some ways to actually do that, to really dive into that self-discovery process?
Your sources suggest taking some time to think about those moments in your life when you felt truly joyful, satisfied, accomplished, when you felt most like yourself. What were you doing? Those experiences often hold clues. It's like looking for patterns, for those recurring themes.
I see. So it's like taking an inventory of those peak experiences and seeing what they reveal.
And also paying attention to what comes naturally to you. What are you good at? What do people come to you for advice or help with?
Okay, so looking at our natural talents, our inclinations, and is there anything else?
Self-discovery also involves getting real about your weaknesses, recognizing what doesn't align with your tendencies so you can avoid paths that might not be right for you. And most importantly, letting go of those external expectations, the shoulds that can drown out your own inner voice.
That's so important, letting go of what you think you should be doing and focusing on what feels right to you. Okay, so we've done some of that inner work. We're starting to get a clearer sense of our purpose and passions. Now, how do we actually start living them? How do we put all this into action?
Well, action is the bridge. You can think about it all you want, but without taking action, even small steps, nothing really changes.
Right. It's about moving from thinking to doing. But sometimes that first step can feel so intimidating.
You don't have to have everything figured out to start. Begin where you are with what you have. Even those small, seemingly insignificant actions, they can create momentum and lead to more clarity.
So it's about overcoming that inertia and just starting, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect.
Yes, don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. And, those setbacks, the things that don't go as planned, they're not failures. They're feedback. Each action, regardless of the outcome, gives you valuable information.
That's a great way to look at it. Okay, we're taking action, we're moving forward, but life happens, right? Things change. How do we roll with those punches and stay on track?
Being adaptable and embracing change, that's key. The path toward purpose and passion, it rarely goes in a straight line. You're going to hit detours, and that's okay. Sometimes you might even need to reevaluate your direction entirely.
So being flexible, being open to adjusting our course, that's just as important as having a clear vision.
Exactly. And, as you grow and evolve, your understanding of your purpose might deepen, your passions might shift. That's natural. That's healthy.
I love that analogy of pruning a plant, letting go of the branches that no longer serve it so new growth can emerge.
And speaking of growth, one thing that really stood out in your sources was this idea of finding fulfillment through service to others. It's about connecting your passions to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, it's not just about me and my goals. It's about contributing to something larger, to the well-being of my community, of the world.
And it doesn't have to be this grand gesture. It can be something small, like volunteering your time, using your skills to help someone, even just being there for someone who needs support. Those small acts of kindness, they ripple outwards.
They create a sense of connection, of purpose. So, in a way, giving back actually enriches our own lives.
It's this beautiful cycle. Now, it's easy to get caught up in striving for some end goal. But the sources also talk about the importance of appreciating the journey itself, right? Celebrating the progress, not just the destination.
Yes, celebrating the wins along the way, big or small.
They actually caution against getting trapped in perfectionism because that can really hold you back. Growth comes from embracing the challenges, learning from the mistakes. It's the continuous pursuit fueled by passion that brings true fulfillment, not just reaching some imaginary finish line.
Right. It's about recognizing our own resilience, our effort, and appreciating how far we've come. Now, we all face setbacks. That's just part of life. But how do we develop that ability to bounce back, that resilience?
The sources describe resilience as this incredible capacity to recover from difficulties, to learn from them, and to keep moving forward. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them head on, accepting them as part of the process.
So it's about cultivating that inner strength that allows us to get back up when we get knocked down.
And a lot of that comes from having a positive mindset, seeing obstacles as opportunities for growth, and staying connected to your why, to that core purpose that drives you.
And speaking of staying positive, the sources also highlight the power of gratitude. How does that fit into this whole equation?
Gratitude is so powerful. It shifts your focus from what you're lacking to what you have. It helps you see the abundance in your life, even when things are tough.
So it helps us stay grounded and maintain a more optimistic outlook.
Exactly. And you know what? Cultivating gratitude can actually fuel your passion. It can motivate you to keep taking action, and it fosters that positive attitude that helps you along the way.
I love that. Now, one thing I think a lot of people struggle with is feeling like they're not where they should be, especially when they compare themselves to others. The sources talk about the importance of trusting the timing of our own individual journey.
That's huge. Yeah. It's so easy to fall into the comparison trap, especially in today's world, where we're constantly bombarded with everyone else's highlight reel. But the reality is, everyone's journey is different. There's no universal timeline for this kind of growth.
So it's about focusing on our own progress, not someone else's.
Right. It's about trusting that your own unique experiences, even the challenges, are leading you exactly where you're meant to be.
Trusting the process. I know it can be tough, but it's so important. And finally, one theme that comes up again and again in your sources is the role of self-belief.
Self-belief is like the foundation. It's what allows you to build your dreams, to actually let your purpose unfold. It's about having confidence in your own ability to learn, to grow, to overcome challenges.
So it's not about having all the answers right now, but about believing that we have the capacity to find them, to figure things out.
Exactly. And remember, you've already overcome so much. You've already achieved incredible things. Draw strength from those experiences. Trust yourself.
It all comes down to that, doesn't it? That belief in ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into these concepts of purpose and passion. It's clear that this is an ongoing journey, one that's deeply personal.
Absolutely. It's about connecting with your inner guidance, trusting the process, and remembering that your journey is unique and valuable.
So don't get caught up comparing yourself to others. Embrace your own story.
Every experience, the highs, the lows, the unexpected twists and turns, they all contribute to who you are and the purpose you're uncovering.
So on that note, I want you to consider this. How do the choices you make each day, even the small ones, move you closer to or further away from the insights we've explored today? What's one tiny action you could take right now, today, to get a little bit closer to that alignment? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.